room. We will now call to order the salary board meeting for the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners. And Lauren, if you can begin with a roll call, please.
Of course. Commissioner Nieder.
Here.
Commissioner Fauci.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger. Controller Wickham.
Here.
All right. Is there any public comment for the salary board at this time? Lauren, does there anyone appear to be online for that? Nope. Okay. We will then move on to the approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 18th.
I'll second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next up, Al, would you like to?
I'll make a motion to approve the salary board actions as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the salary board at this time?
I'll make a motion to approve, to adjourn.
Okay, we are adjourned. We will now go into the Board of Commissioners meeting and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll begin with a roll call, please.
Commissioner Nieder.
Here.
Commissioner Fauci.
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Present.
Next, we will open up the floor to public comment on any non-agenda items. Is there anyone in the room that would like to make public comment at this time? Is there anyone online that would like to make public comment?
This is the time.
Okay.
Okay, we do have someone in the room. Sure. If you'd like to stand up, introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Jason Snyder from the Harrisburg Area YMCA, the West Shore branch, right here in Camp Hill. This is David Osmore. He's our CEO of the Harrisburg Area Y. I just want to take a moment of your time just to kind of discuss the why. We have a large presence within Cumberland County with a little over 6,000 membership units, close to 4,600 coming from Cumberland County alone. So we definitely serve this county. Youth programs ranging from gymnastics, swim lessons, childcare. We're actually in 7 of the 8 elementary middle schools for SAC, school-age childcare program. So we're definitely within the school realms, serving this county. We're mostly just kind of introducing ourselves. We haven't been a part of the commissioner meeting in a long time. I know there's certain funding that might be out there. I'm not sure if you guys still have some of the fiscal recovery funds available still. I know that's probably the end of this year that's kind of been designated, and it might be designated, but it's something that we would like to propose as hopefully an option for the West Shore Y, getting a little bit additional funding. We also have a large part of what we do with the evidence-based health programs, the health initiatives that we do. Live Strong at the Y is a cancer survival program, diabetes prevention program for those who are not yet diagnosed, but close to diagnosed to diabetes, and helping them get on the right track of changing lifestyle habits. So they do not get to the point where they could potentially get that disease. Smoking cessation, we host at our branch. Rocksteady Boxing is a Parkinson's program. Right now there's a fee to participants. The other programs I mentioned are all free. A membership is provided for families during the duration of the program. So it's programs that are funded heavily by state, local, and we of course would love an opportunity for funding, whatever we might have for those two. We would love to host a tour for anybody who would be interested at the West Shore Y. Love to set that up too. So didn't want to take too much of your time, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak. And I think that's all.
Thanks. Thank you very much. And I know I will take you up on the opportunity to tour your facility. I haven't been there in a very long time. But am very familiar with many of the wonderful programs offered by the Y and the role that you play in the community. So thank you very much.
So I would just add, so I taught spin and TRX at the West Shore Y, and my children learned to swim there. And they went to childcare there, and it really, the West Shore Y is a fantastic place. I'd love to come back in. I haven't been there in a long time, Jason. It would be nice to come in and look around again. And this board has certainly written letters of recommendation for RACP grants also. So when you get it, I'm sure you're already into that, but that's something to consider that we do that. Yeah, thanks.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary, any comments?
I used to be a member for years, so we have the facility. I think you've changed a little bit since I was there, but definitely in a growth mode, and a lot of folks sing the praises of the facility.
All right, you're welcome to stay, but you can also depart if you would like to for the meeting. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? And Lauren, anyone online, if they'd like to raise your hand feature? Nope.
No one is in the.
Nope. Okay. That will take us then into the rest of the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. The next section of the agenda is the consent agenda. It's a list of routine items that do not appear to be controversial in nature and which seem to not require additional discussion. If anyone wishes discussion on any of the items, agenda items number 4 through 9, now would be the time to make that request. Seeing none and hearing none, Commissioners, I would request approval of the consent agenda.
Someone like to make that motion?
I will move to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. That takes us then to the regular agenda, which is a list of non-routine items that will be discussed, and they may be acted upon individually. And we'll start with agenda item 10, which is discussion and approval the letter of support for Kareem's mission. And I believe we have Hajir El-Sheikh with us.
Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. And some of you here know me. My name is Hajir El-Sheikh, and I've been in Cumberland since 2001. I run a nursing staffing agency. I do several things. I'm not going to bore you with that. But recently, my son, who's 5 years old, was diagnosed with autism at age 2 years. And going through that journey, I realized that there is not enough support. There is organization that are existing, but they're not connecting, and they direct their services towards adult 21 plus. Younger kids are not receiving any support. There is a long wait list to even get diagnosed, and you cannot be enrolled in any services until you are diagnosed with a developmental pediatrician. After that, we have lack of therapy. Kids with autism, the first 6 years are the golden years. So if we are able to provide them with the therapy, the behavioral, the speech, help them to develop life skills, then we will have an easy way for them to live and not just survive, but thrive and become a valuable member in our community. Going through this, I have the knowledge, I have the connection, I know a lot of people, I have support, and I'm financially okay. I had a company and I didn't have any issue with that area. But even with that, I was going through a lot. When you receive that diagnosis, you are just handed documents and you are to look, search, try to figure out things. And I'm someone, if you don't know me, I'm a problem solver. When there's a problem, I try to find it. So I spend nights and days to research and find what is lacking. Then I started a small support group for the parent when my son finally was able to be accepted after a 6 months wait to a clinic. And the only reason he was accepted because I was able to pay out of pocket for his services. With that, I start hearing the issues that parents are facing, and mainly the stigma. People know about autism, but they don't really know about autism. And they look at the children and the parent as you're not doing your job, or the kid is not behaving well. There are certain behaviors that the child with autism will do in public, which makes it really hard for us to go and sit and enjoy a meal or do anything. Most of the places are here for kids to play. They're not well occupied by sensory, by safety measures that will allow the kids and the parents to be there and feel safe. So I started the Koreans mission with the goal of establishing either a community center or partnering with existing organization. I'm not here to replace any organization or to reinvent the wheel, but to collaborate, fill in the gap, and find ways we can help not just the individual with autism, but their parent too. The community center will have sensory rooms and areas that they can come and just sit, because sometimes you just need to be around people who are not going to judge you. They know exactly why your son or daughter are acting this way or how you can help each other. And this will take the burden out of other places, and it will allow, children with autism to basically learn. There is a long goal, and I developed a whole complete proposal, everything that you might need to learn about Korea's mission. I really wanted all the community. It doesn't just take a village to raise a son or a daughter with autism, and I'm still struggling. My business is struggle. I don't have time to pay attention to my business. You have to focus. This is a 24-hour job. I had to renovate my house. They just finished recently because he's a Houdini. He know how to escape, and yeah. And one of the things is really I changed the whole house. Not so many parents can say they can afford this. And with that, this is all coming out of my pocket also. With the programs, we started, this is our 7th month. Been providing programs for parents. This Saturday is our 3rd event. It's Connection. So we invited all the community organizations, representatives, so they can sit and hear the parent, hear their concerns, what is lacking, what we need to do, changing regulation. We recently had one of our parents, her son commit suicide, Jane knows, Justin commit suicide March 17th. And he got the gun March 13th, he was 21, and he's developmentally at the age of 11. But because he was a big guy and he's 21, he was allowed to have that. He was going through mental health. So there's so much that we can do to help this not to happen again, as well as we have regulation. For example, there is the American Disability Act, but that covers small area. We have another child named Gabby, which you will all be able to meet them or see them on our website. She was sexually assaulted, but because she was 18 and the guy was 43, they said she went with him, that means that's consent. And we have a document from the doctor stating that she's developmentally at age 11. So we just need to look at the children and the adults with autism, not based on their physical age. We have to change and look at their developmental age. They might look and their age is 21, but they're at 11. I can go on and on, but I don't want to take up all your time. I would like to have all the organization, and I'm the Carolyn Smith Legacy Award winner, by the way, by the YWCA for 2024, and I work with the Y with my other organization as well. But this is really not to reinvent, but I want everyone to know about what we're doing, and to just, if you can help change the life of one person, that will be really my final goal. We're gonna reach out to you guys for connections, and the letter will be helpful. Also, if there is anything out there, not just funding, but just the bigger, because we can fund one project, but this is not going to change everything. So I am one of the board of trustees with HAC, and I also work with Central Penn College. We are developing a curriculum and a training packet, which are going to reach our law enforcement. And we have a group of lawyers with the Bar Association to create some information and training. So when you see a child acting a certain way, you will understand that they're not harmful. They're not doing this because they want to hurt someone. This is just their way of communicating with us. Most of them don't know how to verbalize. My son only repeats few words now. He just learned to be potty trained during the day. So it's a lot going into autism. So I invite all of you to just learn about autism and support not just Kirby's mission, but anybody else here in the community. I want to thank you for everything you do. That's it.
Thank you very much
No
for
problem.
raising awareness to your organization, and thank you for taking the challenges on, looking for solutions. I admire that greatly. There's a lot of collaboration that needs to be happening around this issue, and I commend you for all that you're doing. Thank you for alerting the board. We do have a letter prepared in support of your mission.
Thank you.
So,
Appreciate it, guys.
I'm going to move to approve the letter of support for Kareem's mission.
It's been moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you.
That takes us to agenda item 11, which is discussion and approval of resolution 2024-15 regarding tax exempt bond reimbursement, and we have Ron Snow to discuss.
Good morning, commissioners. We're asking for approval of a reimbursement resolution for the second phase of the public safety P25 project. The first phase funding is about wrapped up. We have a little over $4 million left to spend. And as we get into the second phase, we're going to need some additional funding. With this reimbursement resolution, it will allow us some flexibility to work out the final timeline of the second phase and exactly how much funding we will need to wrap up the project.
Any questions for Ron?
Thank you, Ron. Entertain a motion for that?
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you. The next section of the agenda is contracts and grants, and I'll turn the meeting over to Angela Smyser. Discuss.
Thanks, Stacy. Moving on to agenda item 12, I will call on Kim Winton to discuss the contracts for aging community services. Good morning, Kim.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, commissioners. The contract for Bay Aging is a revenue contract. Bay Aging works directly with the Lebanon VA, and they have contacted us and asked us to contract with them to provide veteran-directed services. The care managers would be responsible for doing in-home assessments and working with the veterans who would be responsible to find someone to provide care for them for in their home. And they would be responsible for budgeting their in-home services with their allotted money. And then we would be using current staff for this program. We would be receiving $641.40 per initial assessment and $379.50 per month per veteran thereafter. As the program grows, there is a possibility that we would have to hire additional staff depending on the caseload of the program. So we're asking approval for this contract with Bay Aging.
Any questions for Kim?
Now, just otherwise, Kim, I know that you work in close connection with the Veterans Affairs Office, and I would just hope that that continues through this as well.
Yes, the referrals would come from Bay Aging because they're the ones that have the contract with the Lebanon VA. So I think it's collaboration with the local, with our VA office, and Lebanon VA and Bay Aging is all collaborating together.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, we'll entertain a motion for that.
I'm going to move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Moving on to agenda item 13, I'll call on Jamie River to discuss the contracts for children and youth services. Good morning, Jamie.
Good morning, everyone. The first contract I have is Cornell Abraxas Group LLC. They provide residential institution programs, shelter, detention, and in-home services for our agency. They are requesting increases ranging from 2.37% to 11.11%. They are seeing overall increases in cost of care for youth, including food, clothing, transportation, and shelter. As with everyone, ongoing challenges with recruiting and retaining quality staff, which has resulted in them having a higher operating cost to include their salaries and benefits for employees. And they all require their staff to go through ongoing training for trauma specific issues and other evidence-based curriculum, which also requires certifications for all of their staff. The second contract I have is DICON Child, Family, and Community Ministries. They provide foster care services and in-home services for us. They are not increasing their foster care services this year. However, they are increasing their in-home programs about 5% per service. Again, increased medical benefits and employee wages and signing bonuses. There's an increase in their travel costs for these in-home services as the providers are going into our client homes, and an increase in their staff training and technology improvements that they're doing with their programs. The third one is Diversified Treatment Alternative Centers. They do institution programs and counseling services. We do not use them very often, but they are available for us when needed. They are increasing their residential treatment program 16.31%. And then they have a psychiatric evaluation service that is increasing 18.64%. They're seeing increases in providing care to the youth, including shelter, food, and transportation, and increases of 22% overall in their operating costs, including their staff wages and benefits and ongoing trainings for their staff. The next one is Pathways Adolescent Center Incorporated. They are increasing a few of their programs 10%, and they've also added 4 new programs for the 24-25 fiscal year. Effective July 1st, they have become a Family First Specialized Setting program, which has to do with some federal funding that we're able to receive for those programs. They're seeing increases in their administrative staffing costs to manage their specialized setting program, hiring additional 40 direct care staff to lower their ratio from 8 clients to 1 staff to 6 clients to 1 staff, and are updating all of their security systems throughout the campus to meet their specialized setting requirements. The next one is the Children's Advocacy Center of Franklin County Incorporated, formerly known as Over the Rainbow. They provide services to our youth who have been sexually abused. They do evaluations on them and are able to provide us insight in regards to our investigations. They are increasing their rate 3% due to personnel, salaries, utilities, program resources, and an increase in their insurance costs. The next one is True North Wellness Services. They provide counseling services for us. They are requesting a 3% increase to their rates to maintain staff and reimbursement with travel. And they are also seeing an increase in their training. They do specialized counseling, so they have ongoing training that they need to participate in regularly. The last one I have is Families United Network, and this is an addendum to their 24-25 contract. Their rates were approved by the state, and 4 of their rates came in approved lower than what we initially had agreed upon. So we are reducing those rates to the state maximum allowable, which is decreasing those rates anywhere from 6.52% to 28.32%. So that is a decrease in the rates that we'll be paying for those medically needy children in those levels of care. Any questions?
Yeah, one item you had mentioned, Jamie, the Pathways Adolescent Center, they were changing their staffing ratio. You indicated, was that a requirement from 8 to 1 to 6 to 1?
I don't know that it's a requirement necessarily. I think they were still within the realms, but their particular facility wants to lower that to allow for better services to each of the clients.
Okay. And again, the increases that you're seeing anywhere from roughly 3% to just shy of 19% across the board. It's incredibly challenging. So thank you.
Yeah.
I've seen on some of the materials that some of these things are new programs. Like, for example, at the Diversified Treatment Alternative Centers, and I see Cornell Albrexis has an enhanced detention that's a new program. Are these new programs for us, or are these new programs to them that we're going to contract with?
Yeah, they're new programs that they're developing due to the enhanced concerns that we have with our youth and the increased behaviors to try and help have more places for us to be able to get those children in to get services. So they are new to them and new to us.
Okay, thanks. And that Cornell Abraxas,
Yes,
that 2024, 2025, right? That's $720 per day.
that is correct.
Okay, thanks. I mean, there it is.
Yes.
You know, it's a really expensive.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
And-
that's not our highest rate, but yes, that is the rate per day.
And I was glad to see this, oh, I lost it, Jamie. It's, I think it's $3,500 for it. It looks like it's a analysis as soon as you get in, the inpatient diagnostic evaluation. I'm glad to see that as a new program. I think that's a good thing.
Yes, definitely. It will help us determine where best to send that youth then once they have gone through the evaluation.
Jamie, could you please relay to the vendors our appreciation for their willingness to work with us in establishing some of these new programs to help with these troubled youth that we're getting, that quite frankly, often we do not know what to do with. So I do appreciate them being willing to open up these programs to help us help the children involved.
Yes, I will absolutely pass that along. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Any other questions for Jamie? Great, we'll entertain a motion. I'm gonna move to approve the contracts for children and youth services as listed on agenda item 13.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Moving on to agenda item 14, it looks like we have Jonathan Mays here to discuss a grant for the district attorney's office CID. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. Good morning.
I'm here, previously, we've been here to ask your consent to move forward with applying for a grant with the Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board. It's a grant that we've received for the last 4 years. It funds one of our detectives to investigate this type of crime and partial funding for one of the attorneys in the office. They have approved our grant and they're willing to provide the $149,569 we applied for. There are no changes within the grant other than a slight increase in the money that we've asked for. So if you say yes, we'll take that money and keep working.
Keep working. I'm not saying no.
Okay.
Any questions?
Someone like to make a motion?
I will move to approve the PA Gaming Control Board Local Law Enforcement Grant Agreement of $149,569 for the District Attorney's Office CID.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye or yes or whatever. Aye. Aye. Are you-
I said yes.
Okay.
I'll try C next time.
We,
Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thank you.
thank you, John.
All right, moving on to agenda item 15, I will call on Ryan Simon to discuss the contracts for drug and alcohol. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Commissioners. First, we have drug and alcohol rehab services. They provide adolescent services. And they're asking for a $17 a day increase for their regular 3.5 clinically managed residential program. Second, we have Valerie. Valerie has in the past provided childcare whenever we have an evening prevention program for families. We're looking to increase the rate that we pay her for whenever she's doing the childcare to $18 an hour. We're also looking to add a rate so that we can have Valerie help us out whenever we have our prevention staff going into schools to do prevention programs. And that rate would be $25 an hour. Any questions?
Ryan, assuming that Valerie has all of her necessary clearances in order to conduct this.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Ryan?
None for me. Someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll move.
A second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you so much. Moving on to agenda item 16, I will call on Beth Chornek to discuss a contract addendum for ERP. Good morning, Beth.
Good morning. Today I'm asking for the approval for the business software contract. The contract is for the annual renewal for the tax factory software that's used in conjunction with Lawson to calculate payroll taxes. This year we're reporting 1,181 employees were paid by the county, which translates to a fee of $7,598 for the support period. This is a 4% increase since last year. And for an additional cost of $315.
Thank you.
Any questions for Beth?
Anything from me?
I will move to approve.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 17, I'll call on Darren Page to discuss the contract for MTO. Good morning, Darren.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is the contract that is attached to the previous capital that you just recently approved for the Ethernet dedicated connection to connect main courthouse to public safety, as well as the main courthouse to the Rittner building. The contract is going to be provided by Comcast. It's a 36-month contract, a total cost of $58,775. And just as a reminder, we're still going to utilize our existing infrastructure, the towers on top of the buildings, the radios, things like that. We're going to offload the current backups onto that to free up the bandwidth and the availability of the new connections for the employees to use, have a better experience.
So things gonna be faster, better, right?
Good.
Okay, good.
Any questions for Darren?
None from me. Entertain a motion to.
I'll
Move for approval.
second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Moving on to agenda item 18, I will call on Annie Strike to discuss the contracts for MHIDD. Good morning, Annie.
Good morning, everyone. So I have 7 contracts to share with the board. The first being an amendment for prior fiscal year. It's an organization called Grow and Tell Seedlings, and this is an amendment for our early intervention program. And Grow and Tell Seedlings provides speech therapy for children birth to 3. So it's a $4,000 increase. It brings the total contract to $85,059. The second is American Sign Language Services, and that is for 24-25, and it's actually a decrease from last year of $7,000. And as I mentioned, they provide American Sign Language interpretation. Their total contract is $8,000. The third contract is Alliance for Nonprofit Resources, and these are IDD services, and they provide certified investigations. So this is a contract decrease of $10,600, and their total contract would be $13,000 for the new year. The next contract is for Erie County Case Management, and this is a new contract for 24-25. And it's for ID supports coordination. And the contract total is $5,000. And Keon Enterprises provides transportation services for individuals in services under the umbrella of our ID side of our office. And this is also an increase of $10,094, and that brings their total contract to $31,430. The next contract is OneWell. And this is a renewal for 24-25. It's a $51,000, $51,153 increase. And this organization provides in-home companion services and community supports for individuals with intellectual disabilities. Their total contract is $79,691. And then the final contract is with PA Life Sharing. And this is a renewal from last fiscal year. So for the new fiscal year, it's an $8,802 increase. Brings their total contract to $31,540. And they also provide in-home companion services and community supports. do you have any questions for us?
Do not. Entertain a motion.
I will move to approve.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Moving on to agenda item 19, I will call on Kirk Stoner to discuss the contract for liquid fuels finance. Good morning, Kirk.
Good morning, Commissioners. First item I have here is the contract with HRG. This is for engineering and construction services for redecking of two of our county-owned bridges, one in Lower Allen Township and one in West Pennsboro Township. Cost of the contract is $309,505,000. This again will guide us through project design the whole way through construction services. The estimated total price for redecking of both bridges is $1.76 million. So this is planned as part of our bridge CIP. This is one of our improvements that we did deck testing last year for. Found that there were problems with the deck and it's deteriorating, but by replacing the deck now, the other structural elements of the bridge are in fine condition. This is a much cheaper repair than two full replacements at some point in the future that would probably cost well over $7 to $8 million. So I think this is an example as we've moved forward with our bridge program that we've done some replacements on bridges in poor condition. This is proactive maintenance we're doing on our remaining bridge stock to make sure that they don't reach that poor condition in the future.
Any questions for Kirk on that contract?
None from me. No. Entertain a motion.
A second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Kirk.
Thank you, Kirk, and he will also be discussing agenda item 20, which is a contract for planning.
Sure. Item 20, this is the UGI one. I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I didn't have the agenda in front of me. Sorry. So UGI, as you're aware, we work with UGI for an access road to their proposed LNG facility located just north of our property that we own on Army Heritage Drive. UGI had come back to us and asked for an additional 10-foot wide easement along the existing road. The short story is they had originally planned to put a 12-inch gas line on the slope of the road. And as they went through the design of it, they were concerned that there'd be settling there, which could threaten the integrity of their gas line. I'd like to put the gas line now at the toe of the slope from the road down to the existing grade and put the gas line there. We had Keith review it. We had our engineer review it. We had some back and forth. There are some areas where we might do stormwater management structures in the future. We wanted to make sure that this easement wouldn't preclude that. We verified that it would not and have worked with UGI to prepare the agreement just before you today. So again, it's just an extension of our already approved agreement. It gives us an additional 10 feet of easement space for them to inspect and test their gas lines in the future.
Any questions for Kirk on that one?
No, Kirk, we certainly want the gas lines there to be stable for the residents of Middlesex Township.
Yeah, we do too. I mean, we have adjacent property that eventually, we may use some of the gas lines there. So it's in everyone's best interest to make sure that they're located appropriately.
Thank you.
I'm gonna move to approve.
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, Kirk.
Thanks.
Moving on to agenda item 21, I will call on Travis Shank to discuss the contract for the prison. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, Angela and Stacy. The prison is seeking authorization to contract with Keefe Commissary Network for the purpose of inmate commissary and inmate trust fund release services. This new contract will have an upgrade to our current commissary software to a cloud-based solution. This upgrade will allow communication with Keefe's warehouse to eliminate out-of-stock items which will automatically be credited during the ordering process, eliminating the need to check for out-of-stock credits during our order or in ordering and delivery. The trust fund release services are utilized when an inmate is released. The prison will issue a debit Visa credit card instead of a check. The funds will immediately be available to those released once activated, thus eliminating the need to use release checks that could have the potential to be altered. This project is for, this contract is for 5 years with an automatic 1-year renewal thereafter. Any questions?
No questions? None from me. Entertain a motion. A second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Warden.
Thank you.
Stay to the.
Moving on to agenda item 22, I will call on Michael Halkias to discuss a grant application for the public defender.
Morning, Commissioner. This is a request for approval for a grant for from PCCD for the indigent defense. This is the first time the state has funded any type of indigent defense throughout the state. The grant amount is $97,096 and go towards a new position within the public defender's office.
Any questions for Michael?
We've had discussions about this, Michael, and I know it's never a foregone conclusion, but is it your sense that this is a commitment that the state is looking to continue to make on a longer term and one shot?
At the very least, there's been an approval from the state for next year, 7.5 million for the state. So something similar. Our expectation is that it will be at least another year. Beyond that, I can't tell you.
Beyond that, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions for Michael?
I will move to approve.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Moving on to agenda item 23, I will call on Bob Shigley to discuss a contract addendum for public safety. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, everyone. Requesting your approval of a contract addendum with Intergraph Corporation, otherwise doing business as Hexagon, in the amount of $301,994.88. This covers our computer-aided dispatch software annual maintenance contract renewal, picking up the 4th year of our proposed maintenance contract. It is an increase of $14,379.24. The maintenance contract does cover about 57 line items related to our software licensing, patches, and all the upgrades for the computer-aided software, computer-aided dispatch software applications. So, request your approval.
I'll move for approval.
I second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you all.
And with that, I will turn the meeting back over to Stacy.
Thanks, Angela. That takes us then to agenda item 24, which is discussion and approval of a capital project request for the district attorney's office FID. We should have Eric Radnovich online to discuss.
Good morning, commissioners. The contract before you is a contract with Thermo Fisher Corporation for $160,000. It's for a new gas chromatograph mass spectrometer. It will allow for expansion to the laboratory capacity to accommodate the expanded DOC contract. This expense does not affect the general fund. It's all covered by the DOC contract.
Any questions for Eric?
None from me. Entertain a motion to approve them.
I'll move to approve.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Thank you.
Thanks, commissioners.
Moving on then to agenda item 25, we have Brent Durham to discuss a capital project request for the historic courthouse elevator replacement. Good morning, Brent.
Good morning, everyone. The capital request before you is to modernize the elevator at the historic courthouse. This elevator was installed in 1990, making it 34 years old. Elevators of this age have challenges such as reliability, limited parts availability, and potential higher repair costs. This upgrade will address code changes that have happened over the last 34 years. Some of the code improvements will be things such as fire recall, which will lower the car to the closest exit point and open the doors. It will have battery lowering, so if there's a loss of power while the elevator is operating, it will lower to the lower floor and open. It will have the keyed stop switch versus the push-pull button, which is sort of my favorite because we get a lot of nuisance calls from people just pushing that button when they leave and the car goes out of service. Hands-free communications if there's an emergency. This modernization has been planned for 10 years, or has been in our 10-year plan, I should say, since 2018. With the long lead times to get a new elevator and the increased difficulty to find parts is why I'm suggesting we modernize it now. Total project cost is $150,000, and this project was included in the ARP grant funding.
Any questions for Brent?
Now, you just had to hit that 1990, 34 years. A couple of
Yeah.
times. It's your married Brent. No, nothing.
Is it, Brent, is this gonna take away the spooky fun of that elevator going up and down on its own?
That's a great question, Gene. I guess time will tell.
Find out.
It's like Tower of Terror. And
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Thanks, Brent.
Thank you.
Have a capital project request for the Recorder of Deeds office, and we have Tammy Shear here to discuss.
This project is something that I've been toying over for the last few years. It's a record alert system. It is not a fraud alert system. It is a record alert system. What this would do is allow members of the public, property owners, to sign up by parcel number, not by name, through this separate system that would alert them by either email or text if a document has been recorded on the parcel number to their property. And the initial cost of this, and this is through Landex, through Optical Storage Solutions, which is Landex, which is our current records software company that we use. And the installation is $6,000. The annual software maintenance is $2,000. So the initial cost would be $8,000. All of this will be paid for through Recorder of Deeds Record Improvement Fund, so it would not be coming out of the general fund. So for this year, the cost would be $8,000. Next year, they would prorate the software maintenance. So I'm estimating it would be $1,000 or less for next year. And then just $2,000 a year after that moving forward. So that is the system in a nutshell. And again, no general fund dollars to be expended.
Thank you, Tammy. And I know a resident in Camp Hill that is waiting for this application.
Yes.
In that vein, if I sign up for this with my parcel and I get an alert, what do I do? Do I call your office? Is it too late? Has something already happened?
There's something that is recorded. Now, there is one little glitch with all of this too. If we are doing any type of upgrading in our office, if we've unverified a document to re-verify it, if we found a mistake, oh, there was a name spelled wrong, we go in to make a correction, they will be notified that there's been a change, that something new has happened on the parcel. So if they call our office, we can clarify that, yes, this is the document. We can also send them a copy of the document by email usually, so they can then alert an attorney, or if they are afraid that it's fraudulent, again, attorney and police.
And so the idea would be that they're able to move on, act on that more quickly instead of finding out about it.
Correct.
When they go to sell a property or something else.
Because the Recorder of Deeds office, if something comes in and it's notarized correctly, you know, it looks official to us, we cannot make legal determinations. We cannot validate that it is a legally binding document. That's for the courts to determine. So that, and again, with fraud, we cannot determine what is fraud. That's a legal determination. So if something comes in and it looks a little strange, we usually send it to our solicitor, or we've worked with John Mays once or twice if something's looked really kind of fishy, but most cases we've been fine.
Luckily, it's not happening a lot.
Not on everything.
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Maybe I misheard, but I thought you said that these were general fund dollars, but they're not.
No, they're
Okay, good.
Recorder of Deeds. Yep, it's not general fund dollars.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Tammy.
Okay, that takes us then to agenda item 27, and we have Lisa Grayson online to discuss a capital project request for the Register of Wills Orphans Court Office.
Morning, commissioners.
So what we have, we are requesting carpet in our office to help with the sound issue that we have. We're on the first floor, so we have the very high ceilings. And with the number of appointments that we deal with over the phone and in person, discussing personal identifying information, the sound travels a little too well because of all the hard surfaces. So we're asking for carpet to help reduce the noise issues that will help protect the client information that is discussed in our office.
Any questions for Lisa?
None for me, thank you. Entertain a motion?
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Two.
Last but not least, our last capital project request is for the sheriff's office, and we have Brian Ward here to discuss.
Hello, everybody. I have to tell you, between working for the sheriff's office that starts with an S for 24 years and roaming the earth with the last name that starts with a W for 52 years, I feel like I'm always last and always sit at the back of the class. So regrettably, I'm before you because one of our deputies was involved in a vehicle accident and the car was rendered a total loss. Trying to spin a negative into a positive. I have available to us a leftover 2023 Ford Interceptor of 0 miles. The initial project cost would be about $68,000. We're gonna whittle that down. Having that left over saves us about $1,400. Fortunately, the car that was totaled was one of our newer, lower mileage ones. So the insurance claim was worth about $21,000. And Mike Snyder, 911 superstar, called me a couple days ago, and part of the upfitting process is all the equipment inside. Radios are very expensive. You guys know that, on the cusp of the radio project. I put in the quote for a new radio and he said, take that out. We have a cache of old stuff we can put in, and then when the switch is made, all your stuff will get upgraded. And that takes about $5,000 off the bill. So we're looking at, I don't have exact numbers, but we're looking at about $40,000 overall.
Okay.
Any questions?
None from me. I appreciate you trying to work every angle to reduce those
do.
costs. Thank you.
I will run my household the same way, so why would I be any different here?
We appreciate that.
And I'll take Travis's advice and I'll stay put until you guys render your decision.
When was this set?
April 15th,
Oh, okay, great.
tax day.
Tax day.
Yes, that's why I
Motion
remember.
to the post office.
I wrote a big check and then we had to deal with it.
So we'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
Thank you all very much.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Still getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to encourage. It's subliminal encouragement.
It passed.
Thank you. See you guys. Thank you all very much. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Okay, so that takes us to agenda item 29, which is Commissioner's Liaison Reports, and Commissioner Nieder, I'll start with you.
All right. Couple of fun events over the last couple of weeks. Commissioner Fashi and I, this was not fun, attended a luncheon to discuss human trafficking in the county, and it is happening in Cumberland County. We also held an information session with the judges and the court administrative staff, which I'm excited about and believe it will bode very well for us working together to address the existing and future needs of the county. I was fortunate to attend the Penn State Agriculture Master Gardeners Picnic. And it was a wonderful group of folks that have given thousands upon thousands of hours to not just beautifying Cumberland County, but educating Cumberland County. They conduct a number of workshops, and to quote Audrey Hepburn, to plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. And that group certainly holds that near and dear to their hearts. Commissioner Fashi and I attended the Bhutanese community of Harrisburg dinner that was held at the Penn Harris. And it was a remarkable event and so encouraging to see folks that are new to our country, unfortunately refugees from an unsafe dictatorship, coming here and establishing businesses that we need in the community. Many of them were home health services, which are desperately needed across the county, and we appreciated attending. All three of the commissioners participated in the Municipal Advisory Board on Monday evening. And I, again, will reiterate that it's a great way for us to keep tabs on all that is happening within the municipalities across the county. And it's good camaraderie as well. And additionally, I met with the finance director of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority. The one meeting that I attended was the CADIC board meeting, and I do have a list of a number of items. Kentucky was recommended to approve the vacant seat formerly held by Jason Reimer. One tourism grant was reviewed, and there was a little bit of information provided, and I can't say how pleased I am that the organization is now really taking it upon themselves to do the tourism grants. They had been on a hiatus for a number of years, and I don't think it has been a priority until recently, and I appreciate that. The reference was made over a 10-year period that they had only distributed $1.9 million, so from 2010 to 2020. And the thing that was upsetting to me is they took in over $19 million during that time frame, so it was roughly a 10% distribution in tourism grants, while now beginning late in August into 2024, they have been able to distribute $1.1 million. So I think it's a really needed and a very appropriate use of the hotel tax, and I'm glad to see that the organization is taking on that charge very seriously. I remind everyone, the Category 4 LSA grant program opened in July 1. You must be a nonprofit to apply. That runs through September 30th. So if there are nonprofits out there, please contact CADIC and ask for some support if you would like to apply. Several RACP grants are in the process of being reviewed by the state, and they've requested additional information, which has been provided. There continues to be a focus on improved operations within the organization, and we held an information session with some leadership at CADIC just this week, and feel that is incredibly important that they get those items in line. Greg Welker was hired as the Economic Development Director on July 1st, and people are very excited to have him on board. They have had 79 applicants for their loan and grant administrator position that they are now reviewing, and the open position for workforce manager is being evaluated. There was no update from the Organizational Development Committee. The Policy and Planning Committee continues to work on administrative items, as I had mentioned, but I was encouraged to hear that they're establishing goals and metrics for economic development, and we'll work with Greg to make those happen. On the rec board, they were waiting to hear on the business in our sites application for Frog and Switch, which I will cross my fingers on because I think that's a great program, and hope they're able to obtain that grant. And they were also working through negotiations on the Coon property. So if there aren't any other questions, that would be my report. A lot happening there.
Thank you, Commissioner. And Mr. Felsch.
So on Saturday, I attended the Shippensburg 4-H livestock sale, and I always have an excellent time at that sale. Supporting 4-H is so important, and we have such a great program here in this county. So that really, I had a good time. It's always fun. I would remind you to use the Cumberland County Library system. We are coming to the end of summer, and if you have not read all of your summer books, this is the time to go catch up. I enjoyed the Bhutanese Cultural Gala, and you know what I thought was really great about it is it was such a nice nonpartisan event. There were a lot of elected officials there from both sides of the aisle, and that's so important, and it was good to see everyone there. The Cumberland County Conservation District met on July 23rd, and so I will just let everyone know that Diana, who has run the district conservation for 11 years, is moving to Vermont. So her last day in the conservation office will be August 23rd, And on on August 22nd, there will be a pizza party in the Carlisle office if you want to go over and say goodbye to her. So the Conservation District, the field rep reported, and I love this, and there's such conversation in this county right now about development and clean water. There will be an in-depth Clean Water Academy training course that will be available to DEP and Conservation District staff soon, with portions of the course always also being made available to the public. So keep a lookout for that. That's very important. And that clean water is such it's such a hot topic in the county. And one of the things I love about the Master Gardeners is they are part of stormwater management. They certainly assist with that and our clean water, making sure our water is clean. So I am pleased to report that the tree seedling sale, there were 448 customers in 2024 and 9,935 seedlings sold, which is epic. And they are already buying the seedlings for next year. They've already got them, they're already reserving them so that we will have a successful sale next year.
But I will not make the same mistake of buying 100 seedlings and having to plant them all in an overly ambitious goal to reforest.
Well, I don't know. That's a good goal, right? Was it overly ambitious? So the action was taken on the Hidden Hollow Poultry LLC concentrated animal operation, which also falls under the concentrated animal feeding operations status. For their nutrient management plan, we went ahead and approved that plan. And we also voted in favor of the nutrient management plan for the concentrated animal operation for Allen Lead. And that operation is in South Newton Township in Shippensburg. This is very cool. This is the Cumberland County Conservation District Unconventional Gas Well Fund. And this fund is going to be available for grants to our watershed associations in Cumberland County. So we're going to use this gas well fund. And there will be $2,000 grants available to each watershed association. And of course, there's an application, you have to fill everything out, make sure that you're on board with the best management practices, but this is a great service to our watershed associations. And then the Housing and Redevelopment Authority met. And but there's a lot of things that go on at the Housing and Redevelopment Authority meetings. One of the things that I am particularly impressed about is that there has been the hiring of some property managers who are really doing, I think, best management practices. And one of the things that was discussed at that public meeting is that there was a point in time when there were tenants that, you know, they have to pay within 6 days, and well, some would just pay whenever they wanted to. Almost 40% of them. And so that has changed. That 6 days is being enforced. I think that's it's a great move forward for the Housing and Redevelopment Authority. I think they're doing a nice job in changing things. The Multifamily Housing Opportunities, Inc., that annual meeting of the Board of Directors was called to order. They reorganized. The Cumberland Development Initiatives, Inc., their annual meeting was held and they reorganized. The roof replacement contract was awarded. The county, I know we made sure that they had money to replace the roofs on several of our public housing places, so that was awarded. I will just highlight this, Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher Report for July 2024. There are 1,331 units allocated. The units leased in Cumberland, 1,090, in Perry County, 167. So the waiting list, there are 832 people in county, 1,608 out of county, and 600 non-elderly, for a housing choice voucher waiting list of 3,040. In Perry County, the waiting list in county is 48, out of county is 681, and non-elderly is 128. The total then is 857 on the waiting list for a Section 8 housing choice voucher. So we talk about it over and over again, how we have to have affordable housing. We have an extensive waiting list, and I know there's a lot of projects going on to build affordable housing, but certainly we cannot get it built fast enough and get people into housing. Housing is a social determinant of health, right? Make sure kids are educated, make sure people are okay. This report is the Homeless and Special Needs Division Board report. In Cumberland County, the number of households on the by name list breakdown by adults and children households. Adults, 198 people on the waiting list. Adults and children, 42. In Perry County, there are 43 adults on the wait list and adults and children, 20. So again, we have some work to do in terms of housing and making sure that our people have homes. And this is exciting. We have the Housing and Redevelopment Authority has this County Blighted Property Reinvestment Board, and there are 16 properties in the blight process from 6 municipalities. This was an excellent county investment to go ahead and do this. And then finally, the Housing and Redevelopment Authority will be assisting the Employment Skills Center with outreach efforts for their EPA Brownfields Job Training Program, with their first class coming in the spring of 2025. So that's a good development there. And that is all I have.
Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, just briefly, I think you have the data actually on most of the things that I'm involved with, but so just hit a couple of highlights. On the MHIED side, the only thing that's new there is, of course, we're continuing to plan for the fall summit that AOPC is bringing several counties forward. Our own Andy Stride is presenting there, and they are, of course, asking for commissioner support. And I'm signed up to attend. There is a planning meeting that unfortunately conflicts with our next elections-oriented meeting. It's actually, I guess, a finance meeting. And I have an obligation to be here for finance. So I'm going to miss that, but Annie is certainly capable of handling the vast bulk of information, decision-making on that. And I'll be meeting with her to ensure that we're on a smooth path in terms of our participation in that summit in the fall. I did attend the meeting for the Office of Aging Advisory Board, and just a couple of items there. They are always busy, but they have very few new things to report typically. So they are going to be reducing, the board did approve the proposal to reduce the number of meetings to, I guess, quarterly now instead of monthly. But Andy Huck will continue to provide me with written updates on progress of certain things. I'll just enumerate a few here. We do have an applicant finally for the Echo Housing Project, and they'll be working with Hampton Township it is, regarding the zoning to try to bring that to full fruition. Let's see here. The contract was discussed earlier today with the Veterans Directed Services. Kim Wynn was online and took care of that. They are going to be holding a mini senior games this year. I don't know if this is the first time or if this is a reinstitution, but that's going to be September 26th at South Middleton Park in Boiling Springs. And it's from 9 a.m. to 1:30. There's a $5 registration fee to offset costs there. I didn't find out if they're looking for donations to help cover that for individuals or not, but I'm going to be inquiring about that. So I'll let you know if there's any financial need that's perhaps needs to be met there for participants.
Can you let me know the age requirements?
Senior games. Remember, age is not physical. It's actually dependent on many things. I can find out if there's if you're qualified or not.
Kelly is very competitive. That's a nice long term.
I have found my niche.
That should prove to be fun. I'm sure.
It will be fun.
She also mentioned that the wait list for the consumers that are looking for providers down to 4. In the past years, around this time, she said it was in the 20s or 30s. So that's certainly a bit of good news, definitely worth sharing. On the flip side, she said they are very busy across the board. There's more protective services and ombudsman's visits than they've ever had. So, and I guess the personal care at Blue Ridge is closing in mid-August, so there are residents who have to be relocated, and they've been meeting with the ombudsman weekly, and that will help them locate and transition to a new living location. So always tough, but on the recycling side, I think you're mostly up to date. We just had an informational session here in regards to the transition of the yard waste recycling program. Justin did notify me that some of the municipalities are addressing the short range problem right now with contract grinder, the various vendors that are out there. So I think that'll take some of the pressure off. And of course, we continue to work with those municipalities in terms of their efforts in finding a workable long-term solution in which the municipalities will carry the program, hopefully, as part of an intact organization. But all of this is to be determined. There'll be more announced publicly as decisions are made. I think you're up to date on pretty much everything there. The only other item real quick is the third household hazardous waste event for this year is coming up, and it's Saturday, August 17th. And the registration, remember, this is the one they pre-register for. Half the spots are full at this point. That's pretty good. Justin did say they had Ben put out a recent social media post, and that generated a number of signups. You always get a rush at the end, and they'll probably do another social media post just to ensure. These typically are full by the time we get around to it. May take till the last minute, but they're full or close to full. So that continues to be a very successful and well received event that our folks sponsor, and plays an important role for the environmental integrity of the community. That's everything right here.
Those household hazardous waste events are fun to work. Really fun, and it's good to see constituency and talk with them. And I've just stood there, checked people in, but they're super fun to work.
I'm contemplating taking some of my son's sneakers.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, that takes us then to agenda item 30, which is report of executive sessions. And I would like to report that on July 25th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m., there was an executive session regarding personnel. And now I'll ask if there is any other business to come before the board today. Hearing none and seeing none, we are adjourned.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Liz, can we sign her letter and she can